Service. What is up, listeners? Welcome back to another episode of the Full Service Podcast. I am Tank Smith, your host. Today is episode 60. Thanks for being here. As always, you can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, at Full Service Pod. You can find me at Tank Funkadelic. If you enjoy the podcast, if you like what we're doing here, make sure you hit that like button, that subscribe button, that follow button. You'll be alerted as soon as a new episode drops. Today, episode 60, so excited. My guest is Raleigh-based sensual massage therapist, companion, writer, life coach, Freyja Volva. We sat down, I guess a few weeks ago now, when I was in Raleigh. It was actually my last day when I was in town. So much fun doing this interview. We talk about, it's one of my favorite. We discuss her career as a writer, getting into sex work, doing massage in Atlanta, branching out on her own, studying the healing power of sex work in California, working as a dominatrix, moving to Raleigh, mental health, plans for the future. So much in this interview. So excited y'all get to hear this. You can find Freyja on Twitter at Freyja_Volva. You can find her at onlyfans.com/Freyja Volva, her website, companionmassage.com, as well as lovepowercoach.com. I will have links to all of those in the Libsyn page from this week, so make sure you hit that Libsyn page. Show her some love, give her a follow. I'm going to stop talking. So excited for y'all to hear this interview with Freyja Volva. I hope you enjoy. Thanks. Welcome back, listeners. It's Tank Smith. I am so excited for today's episode. My guest is a Raleigh-based sensual massage therapist, companion, life coach, writer, Freyja Volva. Freyja, thanks for being on the podcast.
Absolutely. I'm excited to be here.
Hell yeah. I'm glad we could do this. This is great.
Great.
Fuck yeah. Got me on the last day in Raleigh. I'm leaving tomorrow. So.
I know. We lucked out. I should be better about email.
Fuck yeah. Listeners, we're, I just said it, we're in Raleigh right now.
Yes.
Freyja, how long have you been in Raleigh?
I've only been in Raleigh a couple years. I was in Atlanta before that.
Oh, shit.
For a long time. Yeah.
Nice. Hell yeah. What do you like better, Atlanta or Raleigh?
Well, I grew up in Miami, Florida, and then I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, and then I moved to Raleigh. So each city has gotten like smaller and small. Actually, Miami and Atlanta are kind of the same, level of population, but it's cute. It's quaint. It's very family friendly. There's a lot of green space. I like Raleigh. It's a little more conservative, but that just means I have more clients.
That is true.
Yes.
Hell yeah. I feel like there's such a good, I was in Raleigh for like 10 years and then going to Atlanta. I mean, there's like so much more that Atlanta like has to offer, like things to do than Raleigh does. But I feel like I still like the small time feel. Like it still has a nice like downtown area.
Yeah. It's very, there's a lot of really good people, a lot of educated people in Raleigh. It's kind of a university atmosphere in a lot of ways.
Fuck yeah. You said originally from Miami?
Mm-hmm. Miami, Florida.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I lived in Miami Shores, which is North Miami High School, North Miami Senior High. We were the pioneers.
Oh, nice. I feel like I always see like global warming videos like where you have like day floods in Miami. Will Miami be taken over by the water?
Oh my God.
Is Miami going to win or is the water going to win?
Miami will always win.
Miami will win? Okay.
There's too much intensity in Miami. It could fight Mother Nature with all of its intensity.
Fuck yeah. What do you like to do for fun? What's something you're passionate about?
Let's see. I'm passionate about a lot of things, but for fun, I went roller skating last Sunday at the North Carolina Museum of Art on their grounds, and that was awesome.
Hell yeah.
Until I sprained my ankle. But it was awesome. I was roller skating like a badass. People were giving me like, ghost high fives, and like it was awesome because I was like outfitted like a toddler with like a helmet and like elbow pads and knee pads, and I was like 10 feet from the car. 10 feet from the car, and I just like whoop fell over and like sprained my ankle. It was
like good thing you had all that protection though.
Right, but I had
Do you go on the 4-wheel skates? The 4-wheel skates or the roller blades?
Oh no, 4-wheel, old fashioned pink. Like they're from like Denmark. It is so hard to find bicycles, roller skates, because everybody's trying to work out in their own way during COVID.
Yeah.
So I had to order them like straight from Europe because there were like none left.
Damn.
On Amazon.
See, I still have never use the 4-wheel skates. Like when I was a kid, rollerblades were like coming up, so I always had rollerblades. I never done the.
Did the roller skate? Well, they should be easier because they're more balanced, but they're also heavier.
Yeah. But I feel like there's nowhere to, I guess you could go out in public and skate.
Yeah.
But...
I know the rinks are all closed. I'm like watching the rink for like when it's going to like open for, you know.
Do they still have skating rinks?
There's one here. It's called United Skates.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go. I had like so many birthday parties at skating rinks. I gotta go back.
Really?
So
Oh
much
my God,
fun.
it's
Like,
the best. Disco, shiny pants, you know, glitter eyeshadow. Like, just give me anything where I can wear shiny pants and glitter eyeshadow and I'll be happy.
I never had the glitter eyeshadow when I went to the
appreciate
skate.
it.
But I definitely, for sure I appreciate it. I'll think about it. I mean, next time I go, I might have to
Shiny
do it.
shorts, you know?
Yeah. I just cannot let anybody take a picture of me while that's happening. Or actually, I probably got to let the people see what's happening.
Absolutely.
You know?
You'd be awesome out there. Let's go skating next time you're in Raleigh.
Hell yeah. We got a skating date. It's happening.
It's happening.
Hopefully, no sprained ankles.
I know. I'll be better by then.
Yeah, for sure. It'll be a year from now.
I'll practice.
Fuck yeah. Well, Freyja, I'm glad we could do this. I'm glad thanks for coming on the podcast.
Great. Thank you.
Heck yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Do you think you can remember like the first time you ever heard of sex work at all?
I had no idea what sex work was. I was raised in a fundamentalist, evangelical, charismatic church where, you know, a girl's virginity was her most important attribute.
I will say this. Have you ever seen somebody catch the Holy Spirit?
I have, darling.
How scared were you the first time it happened?
Oh my God, my mother would speak in tongues.
God.
Like at home.
I remember seeing like it's probably an old black lady, I'd say like 75.
Slain in the spirit.
And she got up, started, like, I was like, yo, something's up with that lady. And they're like, everyone's like, yeah, she just caught the Holy Ghost. It's okay. It's fine.
It's called being slain in the spirit.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, I think it's group hypnosis, but,
it's like when you go to a concert, you know, and everyone's feeling the same thing. And we're like, we're all the same in this moment. And everyone's just like, feel that shit.
Exactly. And then you start feeling it for real. Like, I did that. I thought I had Holy Ghost stuff. I mean, but... You know, it only happened once, and then afterwards I was like,
I feel the
why
same.
doesn't it happen all the time? Why just once when this one Benny dude was at the church did I feel it? Like
those spiritual highs.
Right. I was like, it's just not, it's too shallow. It just didn't strike me as true, you know? You know when a thing is true and when it's not true?
Because a lot of times it's like you're in front of other people and that just influences how you behave.
I don't know. Yeah, because he would like move the spirit like the first 2 rows and the 3rd row, 4th row. By the time he got to your row, like you were like,
I bet.
Hell yeah, I feel it. I feel it.
Of course you feel that shit.
And then you imagine it, you know, if you're susceptible. Yeah. And you're like, hell yeah, I feel it. Yeah. I'm a lot less susceptible now.
Yeah. It comes with age. Hell yeah. So you grew up evangelical. Can you, so can you remember, do you think the first time you heard of it?
Oh, okay, let's see.
I interrupted you.
No, please. Interrupt me all the time. That's how great conversations happen. I keep trying to tell my husband that. Okay, so here's how it went. I got a degree at Florida State in creative writing, and I went and I wrote for the Tallahassee Democrat for a bit, like freelance, and I said I want to get a job, and they said, you need to go work in a medium-sized city, medium-sized market, and then you could, you know, come back here, but you need to go out and work. So they basically were not hiring, like, kids right out of college. So then I moved up to Atlanta. I had a 2-year-old girl, a Yorkie, a husband of only like 3 years, and we put all of our stuff in a yellow moving van and moved up here with like $250. We skipped rent on our asshole landlord, although we had a great apartment. It was behind the governor's mansion. Anyway, we skipped. He was a jerk. There were rats. Anyway, we were very poor. So I need to go pay him back now. If he's still alive. Anyway, so we got in that yellow, you know, moving van. We drove it up ourselves, and then we like tried to find a place to live, and we found this little apartment on the corner of they were called Lindbergh Apartments. It was like $700 for like a 2-bedroom, and it was really close to downtown. And so I did that, and then I wrote for a couple of basically one rag advertiser. It was called Neighbor Newspapers. It's the kind of thing that people like throw on your lawn and you use it to wrap fish and like bird droppings.
It's trash that you get delivered.
Right, exactly. delivered. Perfect. So I was writing for them because I'm like, I just need to build my, repertoire. And so I wrote for them. And I remember my editor, Rob, saying, God damn it. You just made a water and sewer meeting really interesting. How do you do that? And I was like, I don't know. Writing's been my strength. And then I said, I want to work for the newspaper in Atlanta. I want to work for the main page, the AJC. And he's like, never in my 20 years have I ever seen a writer move from this to that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh. Then I was like, fuck. I got in my car. I'm like,
challenge.
Fuck you. Watch me.
Yeah.
Not more than like 3 months later, I met a girl at the water and sewer meeting. And she was like, we have an opening at the AJC at the Southside Extra. You should come interview. I went over there, interviewed. I was hired on the spot.
Oh, shit.
Mm-hmm. I worked there for like 2.5 years. It was like my dream job. Turns out it only pays $250 a week. Because you're only working part-time, so they don't pay you insurance. When you really work 40 hours a week and get paid for 20.
Damn.
Yeah. So it was like, I didn't realize I'd gotten the diploma from the most difficult job, from the lowest average paying,
Starting salary?
Starting salary, exactly.
Damn.
The lowest.
Journalism?
English major, yeah. Creative writing majors.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, journalism, all that, the whole thing. I'm like, this is not a job. This is a ministry. The people that work here, they're like, when people complain about the media now, I get so pissed because I'm like, you don't realize these people are making no money. They're like social workers or like, somebody who's like, like teachers.
Oh,
like
yeah.
They're so valuable to our society, but this, capitalist society doesn't really value them. So anyway, once I realized that, I was... I had to take
You're like, we got to do something.
I had to take a few deep breaths. And then I got pregnant with my second child. So I was pregnant with my second child, and I had him. And what it was the apartment that I lived in on Lindbergh was associated with an elementary school. I put my daughter in that elementary school, and I was like, parent of the month every month. The teacher spelled apple A-P-L-E. My kid was like feeling she wasn't happy. And I have to move her out of this district, which means I have to move into a good school district. So yeah. I talked to my other writers at the paper, and they were like, you got to go to Decatur. Best move I ever made. So I'm like, okay, we're going to put a down payment on this $110,000 condo. And we're going to put these kids in a good school. I'm like, how am I going to do that?
Yeah.
My husband was an adjunct professor. He taught critical thinking and film. We used to joke we're great at cocktail parties, but we can't pay the bills.
Literally a writer to professor. Like...
Yeah, adjunct. You get paid peanuts.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so two very valuable. I mean, it would be great, but neither of us are working in that anymore because you can't support a family on that.
Yeah.
I mean, anyway, don't get me started. So then I was like, all right. I had a therapist at the time. Her name was Betsy. And I said, Betsy, I really feel like I just want to stand on tables and just take my clothes off because my parents were so rigid.
Yeah.
And so evangelical and so like purity. So I was like, okay. She's like, why don't you? I'm like,
that was an option? She's
holy really? You're the professional. Like, you shouldn't be saying this. And and she's like, yeah, why the hell not? So I did. I went around Atlanta looking for places to stand on tables and take my clothes off. I went and talked to people at the Cheetah. I went and talked to people at these like cheesy lingerie studios. They used to have these lingerie, like you could see girls in lingerie. I don't know what it was. But when I went to interview for the lingerie guy, he told me to like take off my clothes in his office. And I was like,
I've seen this in a porno one
you
time.
can see what this fucking looks like from there. And you owe me for looking at it. Besides, you owe me for the last 20 minutes of looking at it. And I was like, So I turned on my heel, walked out. And I'm like, I'm going to do this shit myself. So I went into the Yellow Pages. I started looking up different options. I found this place called Delightful Massages. And it was run by this woman named Morgan who also did horoscopes on the phone. And this was the dawn of the internet. This was 19... This was before...
I remember 19... Those were the good old days. Hell yeah.
Very late, but very late. Anyway, so yeah, so I went from making, okay, you heard what I made at the newspaper. So I started working for her, and she told me how to do it. She had 2 bedrooms, and she saw clients in one. And then she's like, all I had to do was massage people in lingerie. So I'm like, absolutely. My first day, I had like 150 phone calls.
Okay. Are they giving you like...
They just put my name up. Like, they put me in lingerie up on this. I had a mask, a big fancy, like, masquerade New Orleans mask. So cheesy. And like a little teddy on. I was so innocent. And I started getting phone calls like crazy. My first week, I made $2,500 compared to $250.
Were you like, well, I was a writer in a past life. That part of me is done.
Exactly. I'm like, well, it looks like I know what the culture values, so I'm going to just do this. And I managed to put my son in Montessori school. I got a great school for my daughter. I bought us a car that didn't break down every 3 days, and I got us in a condo. It was amazing.
Going into the massage, right, did you have any like preconceived idea of what you thought that was going to be, like going into it?
No, I was terrified. So all I did was just like, I knew how to rub a little bit, so I would just put oil on and rub. I put a little peppermint, and then I'd say that was that. There wasn't any like...
There's no happy
ejaculation, nothing like that. It was just me giving them a massage. It was almost like the people were so thrilled that I was just there with them that they were like, okay, I'll give you $50 because I was so innocent. Anyway, I don't know what was protecting me, some angel somewhere, but also she was good. She knew what she was doing. So yeah. So then I moved out from her and I started Goddess Massage. I had goddessmassage.com. I wish I had that now. It's worth like $6,000 or $7,000 now. I really wish I had it.
Well, let's see if we can get that back.
I know, right?
How was it like Goddess Massage? Is that you kind of branching, like doing that on your own solo?
Yeah. So then my husband learned how to do Dreamweaver. We had Dreamweaver. I don't know what else we had. Adobe. I guess they still use Dreamweaver and Adobe, but this was, again, early on. And so he taught himself how to use it in order for me to have a website. So we started working together, and I started having girls advertise on my site, other girls. And I actually had an apartment at one point where I would share space. I usually shared space with another girl for a long time until I got really established. And then now I have my own place. But, yeah.
How long were you kind of like on your own in Atlanta doing Goddess Massage? How long did that go?
I did Goddess Massage until the end of that marriage. That marriage about 11 years. So yeah.
Do you feel like there was like a waiver period or like a learning curve at the beginning when you like weren't good at massage?
I'm kind of a natural. I just loved it. I loved getting dressed up. Like, for me, it's theater. Like, I was a theater kid in high school. It's theater. And I get to dress up, put on makeup, put on lacy, shiny, pretty things. Like I said, with roller skating. Yeah. Exercise, I can wear glitter. So I just, I really was kind of a natural. I took to it, and I found out that I'm pretty good at it. So,
fuck yeah.
And then I went to school for it. Once I had money, then I could pay for myself to go to massage school.
Oh, shit. Because you're certified as like massage therapist.
Oh, yeah. Right? Yeah. So like I had been doing it for like, I don't know, 10 years. No, actually about 6 or 7 years. And then I paid for myself to go to massage school.
Do you feel like you had a head start on everybody else?
Well, I felt like I was different than other people because I would wear you can't wear any jewelry when you're doing massage. You have to look like totally like antiseptic. Yeah.
Okay.
And but I would wear like armbands of jewelry.
Yeah.
I remember one of the instructors. What is this? What is this? Why are you wearing this? Come on. What is this? I'm like, oops.
It expresses my personality. Okay.
You see who I really am. I was very shy then, but part of me was rebellious. I really did believe in the power and the healing power of my work at that point. So,
I feel like a good massage will change your life.
Yes.
I feel like you're like, what the fuck just happened? I feel so fucking good.
I think you came in for a massage.
Listeners, I got a massage from this lady like a couple of years ago. Just a regular massage. Greatest fucking massage. Like, yo, thank you.
Thank you. You can say it. Greatest massage ever?
Greatest massage ever. I will...
Say it again.
This is
no,
great.
Just kidding.
This is wonderful. If you want just like a great massage, it was wonderful.
Yeah. So that was my thing. I wanted to do great massage, and then I also wanted to connect with people emotionally, and really get to know them. And that's social work. What I was doing was like, I was meant to be a counselor or a writer, and I didn't know that I was a healer.
Yeah.
I just didn't know that until I went to massage therapy, and then I took it on. I was like, really? I'm a healer? I can heal people? Because I'd been abused badly as a kid. I never thought I would turn it around to be a healer.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, that's never going to happen. But it was such a mind fuck to go, wow, I'm a healer now. It just changed my whole perspective. And then I took that back to sex work, and it enriched it.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah. And then I went to California.
What happened in California?
Right.
I feel like California. You're like, I went to California. I'm like, this sounds like a story.
Oh yeah. So then, once I started realizing that I was a healer and that I could really be there for people and bring them the best massage, but also, listen to them and take care of them and be their, their one place where they can be themselves. It felt like an honor. So I started reading a lot, of course. I found a book called The Erotic Mind by Jack Morin. I don't know how it's pronounced, Morin. And in it, he talks about your erotic blueprint, like how you are erotically based on all your experiences and how each emotion ties into your eroticism, your orgasms, like what makes you come, basically.
Okay.
We've each had certain experiences that are triggered. Like, we have connections in the brain.
Okay, yeah.
Certain things are going to turn certain people. My first husband loved feet. Turns out he had a French teacher who used to sit on the edge of her desk while lecturing, and she would let one shoe dangle off the end of her toe while she was teaching French to 15-year-olds. Boys.
That'll do it. That'll do it.
For the rest of his life, he had a foot fetish. So it was awesome because my feet felt really sexy.
Did he know what it was? Did he know that that's what it was? Did it take a while for him to figure out that it was the French teacher?
I don't know. I just always get to it really quickly for people. I just want to know. I'm like, okay, let's talk about feet. Yeah. When did you first know? And then it became he's like, well, maybe it was my French teacher. I'm like, yeah, it was.
Yeah. I feel like a lot of things what it is, but you just until someone gets it out, you're like, oh wow, it was in the fucking, it was just in the subconscious the whole time. You get that shit out.
Tease it out of you. I will tease it out of you. Absolutely.
Yeah. You knew the whole time. But you
that's my favorite part, the psychology of it. Learning about. Anyway, where was I? I was going to. Okay, I started reading The Erotic Mind, and then I read a book called Women of the Light, which was a book about massage therapists, nurses, yoga instructors who would also do sexual healing work. And it so validated me. I just could not believe it. I was like, wait a minute, this is spiritual work. I can actually reconcile my spirituality and my sexuality by studying this kind of thing. So it was revolutionary for me because I was, again, raised in a very, Christian home. I liked the spirituality of it, but I didn't like the doctrine or the people or basically anything about it that I had experienced. But I liked the spirituality of it. So I went to California. I went to a place called the Body Electric School, which is an amazing, it's basically, if you've heard of Esalen out there or, out in Big Sur, there's a really cool place where people do naked body work and dig deep into their psychology. You have to look up Esalen. Okay. Anyway, but then I did a workshop called Celebrating the Body Erotic with women. And we did all these beautiful ceremonies over a 3-day period. By the third day, we were one woman would stand in the center, and then each woman on either side would very slowly and very delicately take off your clothes because you've consented to this.
Okay.
Beautiful music is playing. You're in a totally safe environment. It's a clothing optional retreat in the middle of the mountains of Northern California. And at the end, you'd keep going until everybody was completely nude. Nice. And then you'd hold hands. And when I held hands with all those women, must have been 30 women, in a circle, and you saw breast cancer scars, you saw cesarean scars, you saw hair on chests. Like, you learned about gender fluid right then. I just knew. I understood that gender was fluid. Right then, I learned it.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So I felt like I was holding these hands and we're all looking at each other in the eyes. We're all comfortable in our bodies. We've told our abuse stories or our happy stories. And I felt, oh, this is heaven. I'm in heaven right now. Like, it makes me want to cry just talking about it. It was so powerful for me to strip away all that doctrine, all that programming.
Damn.
Yeah, so I studied with them for a few different things. They actually had a sacred intimacy workshop for like a week that I went and did. How to be a sacred intimate, which is another word for what I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you feel like you were able to take like what you learned like in California studying and like put it into your work?
Oh yeah. I really learned a lot from them, and it just enriched my practice. I took a power exchange class in Seattle with one of the people that had taught my original class, and it was basically like BDSM, but conscious BDSM, where you're just exchanging power. So like, I don't know how you are, but like sexually, sometimes for me, it's fun if one person has the power. Yeah. And then you switch, and then the other person has the power. There's something kind of like... Yeah. Friction, you know? Oh, you know. I see the twinkle. It's fucking twinkling.
The twinkle is here.
So I learned about that. And actually, I spent some time with a woman named Lady D in Atlanta. She's like a 5-foot-tall black woman with a whip and a voice as loud as any voice you've ever heard. I would just listen. I shared space with her. I rented space from her. She would beat the shit out of her clients loudly next to my massage room. So eventually I had to try to be a dominatrix like she was because it sounded so much fun.
Were you able to ever do like dom stuff?
Yeah. So then she laughed in my face again. Somebody laughed. You're so cute. Your curly hair. You little white girl. Go ahead. Show me your picture of you as a dominatrix. She's like, she couldn't stop laughing. She laughed for like 3 minutes. So then I got in my car and I'm like, fuck you. And then I became a dominatrix. I was like, I had ads in the like full color page ads and dominatrix magazines, interviews. I once did an interview in Atlanta at this late night talk show. It was live.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and I interviewed, I'll never forget, I can't remember his name, but he was the newscaster for some local, he was basically famous in Atlanta. And they were interviewing him. He did like the best daily deals or the best deals of the month or whatever. And he also like figured out scams and stuff. I wish I remember his name. Anyway, we're standing in the back of the in the wings waiting to go on. And he had chatted with them. And they said, okay, it's time for our next guest. This is Freyja. And so he came out and was like welcoming. He stood up from his interview chair and came out to welcome me. And I just said, what I tell him to do. I said, I'd like you to take this. I didn't say anything. I just handed him my beer and said, carry this for me. And I walked.
Powerful.
And he was immediately like, yes, ma'am. You know, he was like, shocked and smiling at the same time, probably a little bit turned on. So then he sat next to me and we had the best interview. That's why I agreed to this, because it was such a fun time. I loved it. Anyway, like I said, I have stories for days.
Hell yeah. How long were you working like in Atlanta?
I was there. I worked for 8 years.
Okay.
In Atlanta. Then I came up here. Actually, my marriage ended with my first husband amicably. We were still making love after we were separated.
I guess that's ideal.
And we didn't separate for 4 years, and we said it's on a leap day. We actually got divorced on the 29th of February one year. We're like, we don't have to celebrate it, but every 4 years. We raised the kids together, and we were like really close until he got remarried. And that sucked.
Oh,
but they're divorced now. I'm sorry, did I say that out loud? Anyway, so when that ended, then I very soon after, well, I dated a Marine. Oh, he was so cute. And then I dated my current husband, who had been a client for a year or two, but I didn't get to know him until I threw a party one night. And then, anyway, long story short, I married him, and we've been together 17 years.
Fuck yeah. Do all people like in your life all know about your work?
Yeah, my mother knows about it. She's known about it since basically I started. My brother knows about it now. All my family, my husband's super supportive. You know, I come to him every night crying about I don't cry every night, but like I come to him every night. I can process with him, and then I have a great therapist here in town.
Fuck yeah.
I will not tell you her name because she's overbooked, and she's the best thing that's ever happened to me.
Fuck yeah.
But
it's like having somebody to talk to about work. Like, is that beneficial?
it is crucial. If you don't have that support, you will become addicted to something. You will become addicted to food. You'll become addicted to television. You'll become addicted to work. You'll become addicted to alcohol, cocaine. Because I've done it. I mean, I never was cocaine. Mine was like drinking. Chardonnay and Netflix were my two best friends.
Chardonnay and Netflix are a lot of people's best friends. You're not alone. You're not alone in this.
But we're all alone, right? So, like,
you're born alone and you die alone in between Chardonnay and Netflix.
No, I'm saying when you're watching Netflix at home alone, drinking your ass to, till 1 a.m. because you can't shut the shit off. That's, like, I think a lot of us are suffering in this culture, especially sex workers, because because our society is so fucked up. And we think, society once thought slavery was awesome.
Yeah.
Right? So society is fucked up sometimes, and they don't realize how good what we're doing is.
For sure.
Right? You've interviewed us, right?
We're changing the world.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. So they're fucking wrong. We're not.
Yeah.
And as soon as you realize that, the shame drops.
Yeah.
And you don't have to be ashamed of what you do. You can start sharing it with people.
For sure. And too, like, it's like if there was no, I guess I would say, like, if there were no, like, there's clients, like, there's fucking people coming to you that need you to help, like, for help and shit.
Oh, I had a client last week, 80 years old, sat down and started talking to him. His wife he hasn't had sex in 20 years. They've been married 50. He was a virgin. She was a virgin when they got married. And I don't know how he found me. He just, I guess, got an itch somehow. Anyway, he came over and we just started talking. I started listening to his history, and he started telling me about his Vietnam service, and he started talking about how he started a business here in Raleigh when he got back from the war to counsel alcoholics and addicts. And he still does one every Thursday night. He's done it his whole life.
Oh, shit.
And he's talked to me about, anyway, when he told me a story about how he still does it on Thursday nights with people, I just leaned over and just kissed him, sitting on the couch here. And then I really kissed him. And then later, like at the end of the session, he said, I've never, ever been kissed like that with the tongue.
You're changing this old dude's life.
I'm saying,
he didn't even get kissed
honored.
like the tongue like that in Vietnam.
I'm honored. I'm just like, are you serious? Literally, the guy I don't have any reason to doubt him because he's lived his life with such integrity. He's not going to sit there and lie to me. So sometimes you have to take it really slow with people because you don't know how inexperienced they are.
Yeah.
So who knows? You can have a client. Maybe you have a client that has never kissed.
Yeah.
I felt, and we had a beautiful session, and, basically a lot of cuddling and hugging and
intimacy.
Yeah.
Fucking people need that shit.
He was like, he almost came 5 times, but then
almost 80-year-old. You're telling me this 80-year-old has an amazing refractory period?
Honey, I'm telling.
What?
No, he almost came 5 times, and then he got too nervous. And that happens every time.
Shout out to that.
No,
guy.
that happens every time you're on my table.
Wow.
I bring people up. That's the tantra. That's my tantra background.
Okay. So I've never interviewed anybody that does like tantra, right?
Ooh.
So I did tantra one time, and I don't know if I'm like maybe not like cynical or sarcastic, you know? I feel like you got to be really present and like really like.
What were your cynical thoughts?
Well, I just felt like it was a lot of breathing, like it was a lot of.
You're like, this is fucking bullshit.
Yeah, like that's kind of how I felt, or like not like I was just like. Maybe it's hard for me to pick up on energies. Like, you know, there's people that like study energy and they're like, you know, I feel like energy, that can move energy around. And I was just like,
it depends on who you're working with.
Yeah.
You know, if you're working with somebody, it can be simple as eye gazing.
Yeah. There was a lot of eye contact happening.
Okay, that's good.
We sat across from each other for a while, did like breathing, and then just like looked at each other.
But that can shut you down if you're not ready for it.
Yeah.
Did you feel shut down? Like
I don't know. At one point she tapped on my forehead and said, "You're not present."
Oh, fuck no.
But I think it was because I started going soft and she was giving me a hand job.
Oh, that is the most judgmental.
I was so relaxed.
And you can leave like that.
I know, right?
Okay, she made you wrong. Okay? If she made you not okay, whenever you make a client not okay, you're no longer being therapeutic.
I mean, I still had a good. I mean, it's still like I was just like, I don't know what this whole time. I feel like I need to do it again.
You
know?
do.
I need to do it again.
Definitely, you do. You can't be. I mean, if somebody makes you wrong during a very vulnerable sexual encounter, that's wounding, actually.
But also at the same, as soon as she said
but
like you're not
resilient.
present, she's like you're not present. I'm like that's correct. You know, like you're
right.
picking up. You're like
She challenged you a little bit. She confronted you, but. Really, it's all about drawing somebody like you out. You are the person that needs to be slowly drawn out.
Yeah.
Not the person that's just going to be like instant tantrum master.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
So, well, yeah, you should try it again.
Fuck yeah. Who do you feel like your like average clientele is? Like an average?
My average clientele are people about. I thought about this. They're educated businessmen. From 30 to 40, mostly.
Okay.
They're dads that have not slept with their wives because the wives have said, fuck you.
Yeah.
Not in so many words, but they have basically just... And so I often ask men to ask their wives for more of this, like to openly... Because some of them are avoiding it with their wives. Okay. They're not actually... pursuing it anymore. They've decided they can't get their needs and wants met at home, and so they're just going to come to me. And I mean, that's good for one session, but if you're going to come to me over and over again, and I know you're married, I'm actually going to talk to you about your wife.
Okay, because I know you like do life coaching, right? Like,
yeah.
Does that like help? Like, do you like go home with homework? You're like, hey,
I do it on the subterranean level or the subterfuge. I'm life coaching you, but shh, you don't know that.
Yeah,
I'm just asking you questions.
It's called homework.
No, just ask you questions.
Yeah.
Have you asked your wife to give you a back rub?
I feel like sometimes, like, because I was in a relationship for a long time, and at the end, like, we stopped fucking, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's hard to go from not fucking for a long time to even, like, get into that fucking, make that happen, like, at all.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely. And there's so many emotional things behind the not having sex.
Yeah.
I mean, there's so much resentment usually in marriages. That's usually what kills marital sex is resentment.
Yeah. And also too, I feel like a lot of people stop communicating, and it's hard to start up like communicating about sex or intimacy after you haven't done that in a long time. And then it's almost like, well, where's this coming from kind of thing. It's just like, so it's fucking fear.
No.
Fucking fear.
Hey, listen, if you've had a wife who who you're no longer having sex with, first there was the resentment, and then it was getting comfortable for the next 5 years living parallel lives on that point. So you're basically trying to have sex with a stranger who you feel like hates you.
And you're like, what is this person even like?
Right.
I don't even know what this person likes anymore because we don't fucking talk about this shit.
Exactly. You feel like not okay. And who wants to have sex when you feel not okay?
Yeah.
It's very simple. You have to feel okay in your marriage. You have to feel like your spouse thinks you're okay, and you have to think your spouse is okay. And as soon as you get out of that, then you start having resentments. Trust me. I got fucking...
Chris Rock said you gotta fuck.
True.
In order for it to work.
Yeah, it's true. But the emotional stuff is what is so sticky. And people who are raised by parents that either fought all the time or didn't talk to each other or never kissed or never touched, they're going to be following those models. I mean, my husband wouldn't mind me saying it, but he hadn't had a conversation about sex until he met me, and he was like 35 or 6 and had already been married for 7 years.
Yeah.
Never until he met me.
I feel like there's so much of, I feel like, well, society is changing now in terms of like openness towards sex, but I feel like there's so many people that just like, this makes me uncomfortable talking about it. I don't want to talk about it.
But you think with your spouse, you'd be able to like, she thought he was gay. She thought he was gay, literally.
Especially like if it's
He's not fucking gay. I can tell you that.
It was
I mean, maybe look curious occasionally, but only if I draw it out, because that's like my hot.
Sometimes he likes a finger in the butt, but hey.
No. No.
That was my idea. I
will draw that out. I'll find it. Yeah. So he met me, like this sex worker from hell. He was like, oh, I think he like, yeah. Anyway, long story short, it was very quick.
Oh, yeah.
When he realized that what we had, it was very quick.
That's great.
Yeah. I mean, there's a great story there, but it involves a divorce and it's kind of messy, but.
Nobody likes divorce stories.
No, exactly.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Let's see what's going on. Do you feel like people know how to contact you correctly when they're reaching out to you?
Oh, I have to teach them. So if I don't teach them, they don't know how to do it. So I try to make my ad very clear, and people still don't understand it. So then they'll email me, and I'm bad with email. So I've said text only, but they'll email me. And so once a week,
I should have texted you.
And you shut up. I know. What?
Sent you an email.
You're so wrong. Kidding. So I should check my email more. But the fastest way to get to me is a text message. And I think that people need to be taught, like clients need to be taught. So it's about asking for what you want in relationships or in business. You have to ask, please send me your name, your age, and what time and day, and they still don't do it. But that's okay. You can ask for it, and a lot of the time you get it. But if you don't, you know, you're a service person, so you're in a helping profession. So I try to make it easy on clients.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How do you feel like attraction plays a role for you at all when seeing a client?
What? Kidding. No, it's for seeing them? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. You come to my door, I don't care what you look like, what you smell like, I'll put you in the shower. You just come on.
Hey, shower people. Hey.
It's nice. It's nice when somebody comes with a fresh haircut, crisp white shirt, they're all showered and smelling delicious, not too much. But really, you can come in however you are. Like people come off the job site, they're sweaty, they're dusty. I'm like, that's delicious.
Yeah.
I mean, you also have to kind of be somebody that just loves people.
Yeah.
So that you're I'm open arms. Come, bring me your poor and huddled masses. Yeah. I will nurse you. I will nurse the whole world.
You were the statue of the Lady Liberty.
People call me the mother goddess. Everywhere I go, as soon as I meet a group of people, eventually somebody calls me the mother goddess. So I'm very welcoming. And that's, I think, important for this work. Men are too shamed as it is.
Like you being so welcoming, I feel like that, just like allowing people to be vulnerable and to you it's great.
Vulnerability is the only way to get close to other people.
Yeah.
I mean, there's power in vulnerability, as Brene Brown always says. That's the power. It feels opposite for men. It feels like if I'm weak, if I talk about how my parents didn't love me or how I had a hard time making friends as a kid, then you're going to see me as weak. Yeah. Actually, if you cry and tell me how hard it was and how your parents weren't there for you, all I'm going to do is cry with you and want to be close to you and empathize and feel compassion and then really respect you because I know how difficult it is to be vulnerable.
That shit's hard.
It is the hardest.
But I feel like the more you do it, the more you get used to, like anything, you get used to it and you're like,
once you find somebody you trust, it's easier.
Yeah, it has to be a trust thing.
Yeah, once you find somebody you trust, like a therapist, but there's I threw my $30,000 Tiffany diamond at my husband like 6 times before I married him.
Damn.
Because I was like, literally across the room, I just chuck it. Because I was like, I can't do this. I can't be intimate. I can't trust you. You're going to leave me. Whatever.
Yeah.
People like us have, oftentimes sex workers have boundaries that as often as children get violated. And so we don't realize that that's a blessing and a curse. It's a blessing in this work because you're very accepting. But in relationships, it's challenging because it's hard to let people truly in.
Yeah.
So when commitment happens, like you go batshit. Anytime you get commitment, oh, that's fucking scary.
It's that fear. That's yeah.
That's fucking scary. Ooh, I don't know you. Even though you've been together for 5 years.
Like having like this responsibility that you're taking kind of somebody like into your home and you're like almost like molding them or whatever. Do you feel like pressure in a session to live up to a client's expectations at all? I
don't mold people. I ask questions.
Yeah.
People mold themselves. I just know how to, my life coaching. I was trained by Oprah Winfrey's life coach. And I did that for about a year of that training. And I learned that you're not healing people. People are healing themselves. It's your role to ask questions. They heal themselves.
Damn.
They help themselves. You might activate, but then my current therapist is like, you're not activating people. I'm like, oh God, you've activated me. I know what it feels like to be Anyway, you really have to get that through your mind. And that's how you survive the emotional toll of this work, is to realize you're not actually in charge of it. It's not your responsibility if they get better. It's not your responsibility if they jump off a building. You are there to just ask the questions that, you think might lead them deeper into their own story. And what comes out of that is not your baby. It's their baby.
Yeah. It always was their baby.
Yeah.
You're just asking questions.
Yeah. I can't do anything. I can't cure you. I can just ask you questions.
Does like burnout ever happen for you at all?
Well, I've gotten really good at setting boundaries. Actually, that's a good point. I was molested from 9 to 13 by a stepfather pretty much every night. My mother never did anything about it. My father married another woman. I was on my own. And that created a lot of wounding. And I've been in therapy pretty much every week since I was 16. Paid a lot of money for therapy. So it's time I give it back. But what I was saying is that in this job, I get to take power back in the places where it was taken from me. So I didn't have any choice then, right?
Yeah.
I didn't have any choice. Somebody touches you, like you don't have a choice. You're a kid, right? But then once you're a grown up and you realize that you have, what's the word? I can't think of the word. Sovereignty, your own power. You realize that this job can actually be super healing. Because you become economically independent and don't have to marry assholes, right?
For sure.
You can be free. And then also, I can say, you can touch me at my knee, but you can't touch anything else.
Yeah.
You can touch my elbow. You can't touch anything else. You can, there's certain things they want. But you could basically say, no, whenever. But it's a conversation where I didn't have that as a kid. I didn't have that ability to have that conversation. So yeah, it changed my mind. It changed my blueprint to, be molested and all that. But that just means I'm a virtuoso sexually.
Yeah.
I was trained early like a violinist. I'm a virtuoso.
Do you feel like your job is more like emotionally, physically, like taxing on you? What do you think?
Probably more emotionally. But I have also learned how to get rid of that kind of energy, and really take care of myself. So if I'm drained, it's because I'm taking on somebody else's problems and I'm not setting up good enough boundaries for myself. If I'm physically drained, it means I'm not setting up good enough boundaries. I'm taking too many appointments. I'm trying to meet some goal. I'm also kind of a work hard driver. I have a work hard driver inside of me, work hard. So I have to, in any career, in anything I've done. So if I have burnout feelings, it means that I haven't been caring for myself or setting up good boundaries. And then but I realize it pretty soon now that if I'm tired, like I just took 4 days off.
Oh, fuck yeah.
Because I did like mega appointments last week and I enjoyed it then, but then I realized I was really tired. So I just took 4 days off, stayed home with my family.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. It's all in your control.
And it's nice, like, that's where a job where you can, like, you control everything to where you're able to do that.
Hell yeah. I feel so good to be in control of everything. My safety. Yeah.
Fuck yeah. Mm-hmm. Have your views on sex or sexuality changed since you got in?
Well, when I got in, I was terrified of anything sexual and my own sexuality. Actually, in the past 2 or 3 years, actually in the past year, I've really begun to feel my pussy. Like, I've really let myself feel it. And it's a lot. My husband has really done that for me. Been so patient and so kind that he's allowed me to kind of like figure myself out. And I've become more in my body. So, I don't know. My sexuality has changed, but for the good. I'm way more educated now.
Fuck yeah.
I know lots of shit. Ask me anything. BDSM, Tantra, erotic massage as a healing modality, sensual massage, body to body. Like, I can.
We got a pro.
I got a lecture. I'm a freaking professional. Hell yeah. God. I don't have the degree, but I got the study hours.
Do you feel like your views on
credit hours? Go ahead.
Do you feel like your views on men have changed at all since starting?
Yeah, I'm not scared of them. I know they're little boys. They just need acceptance, understanding. I know a little bit of admiration. And I got a lot of that to give.
It feels good.
Right.
It feels so good.
Right. It's like so little about sex.
Has how you view yourself changed at all since getting into sex work?
Mm-hmm. Like I said, I realized I'm a healer. Then I realized I'm a sexual healer. And that I've turned my past, it's basically I turned lead into gold, lemons into lemonade or whatever. It's like I took a bad thing and turned it into something good for the world. And that's what I wish everybody would understand, is that people like me have often had abuse in their background, but now they're turning it around and they're making decisions economically for themselves. Once you have economic freedom, you can really grow and change.
For sure. And
you don't have to be stuck to your... I don't talk to my mother right now. I don't have to talk to any... Like, it's all a choice now. I'm not stuck or in a corner or, dependent on anybody. I'm an independent person. I mean, women in economics, if you go back, when women can have their own jobs and their own, that's when real freedom for women comes, is when you can call the shots because you're economically free. So yeah, it's changed me a whole lot in that respect.
Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What do you know about yourself now that you didn't know before you got into sex work?
Let's see. God, I know that I have a lot more knowledge and talent than I thought I did. Yeah, I used to think I was a broken bird. Turns out I'm a boss bitch.
Bird. Boss bitch bird.
I'm no longer a broken wing. I got those wings are like guns. The wings are guns. Yeah, dominatrixing really helped with that, because when you can realize very powerful men just want to come in and be little boys, it changes things for you. You just realize that it's all a power exchange, and you can choose to give somebody your power, or you can choose to not give somebody your power. You can choose to give an abusive husband your power, or you can choose not. You can choose not to give an abusive husband your power. Like, you have power.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everybody has power.
Right. But I didn't, when you're abused, you have no idea how much power you have. My dominatrixing taught me that men sit, you can't see this on a podcast, but men sit with their legs open. Watch them when they're on a chair. They sit with their legs open, their elbows on their knees. They're like balls are hanging out of their shorts. They're taking up a lot of space on the chair, on the bench. Like, men are comfortable being powerful. You look at a woman, she's got her legs crossed. She's got her, hands in her lap. She's crunching, like, her shoulders so that she feels small. Like, you just watch body language, and you realize that women often feel like they don't have power. Being a dominatrix, I learned that you got to take up space. You got to physically take up the space. Take up the space in the chair, on the couch, in the room, the whole fucking apartment. It's your space, and you're big.
What advice would you give somebody kind of wanting to get into massage, companionship? What good advice would you give that person?
I'd say find a good therapist who can help you through it. You pay them, once a week, once every 2 weeks. You find a sex positive therapist who will help you, and then you can share it with your person, whoever your person is. Your best friend, your husband. You can share it with them, and then you'll have support. I mean, for a long time, all I needed was a therapist and my husband. And then now I'm a bit bigger. I have a small group that I share with. I have my family knows. The circle is way bigger, but I'm very careful about who I tell.
Yeah.
It's like casting pearls before swine. I don't need to tell the whole fucking neighborhood what I do. Sexuality does deserve privacy, So it doesn't mean I'm ashamed of it. It just means not everybody gets to know this.
Yeah, for sure.
Not everybody gets to know how awesome my life is.
What advice would you give like a client wanting to see a companion for the first time?
Yeah. Well, first piece of advice is you don't have to be so nervous. We are very welcoming people. We are, warm. We're warm.
Yeah.
So we love being warm with others. So, you're going to be nervous, but we're good at handling nervous clients.
Yeah.
We'll probably start with a hug. A hug and a nice little conversation, and I'll start with massage, and we'll ease you into it because we're pretty good at reading, someone's comfort level.
Yeah.
So don't be nervous.
Fuck yeah.
Throw yourself in it. Be vulnerable.
Be vulnerable.
Right?
Be vulnerable.
That's the key.
Goddamn right. Where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Oh, well, I almost applied to Widener University for a dual master's in human sexuality and social work. I'm on the fence because it's going to take 3 years of my time. And I have a wonderful husband, a 9-year-old at home, and I love my life. It's just so yummy right now that I'm like, do I really want to take something on? So I'm going to give it a couple more years, and maybe not a couple. Maybe I'll do it next year. I'm not sure when, but I really would like to get that dual master's because there's very few places that offer a human sexuality master's degree and a human sexuality degree. And they do it dual, both at the same time in 3 years.
Oh, shit.
It's $90,000. Right?
Hey.
It's a private school.
How can you put tuition on an Amazon wish list?
Should totally do
we
that.
We need to figure that out.
You get what you ask for. I should totally do that.
We need to figure that.
Maybe some person for whom $90,000 is nothing will pay for it.
Or just lots of people chipping in. Yeah. You don't got to have one dude.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think one time I counted I'd seen 3,000 clients, but that was back in Atlanta. I've learned a lot. I love men now. I love men. This whole thing that I've been through, the whole sex work thing, is giving me compassion for men. And I can even understand people who have troublesome turn-ons. Some people have troublesome, again, The Erotic Mind, that book, troublesome turn-ons. Some people like to expose themselves. Great if the society says great, but they don't. So you get arrested. I've learned great compassion for men and their sexuality, mostly from having compassion for myself.
I feel like it flows once you have it for you. It's like if you love yourself, then you can love other people.
They say that, and I'm like, what the fuck does that mean? What I understood is be tender with yourself. Be tender.
Yeah.
Tender with your little heart. I try to judge myself so bad. Oh, you fucked up. You're such a piece of shit. You didn't fucking lose 10 pounds. What the What's wrong with you? And I'm like, oh yeah, that doesn't work.
I feel like so many of people are their like worst critic. I mean, I definitely am. You're like, oh my God, you're fucking terrible, you piece of shit. What the fuck are you doing?
How does that work for
so
you?
much better.
How does that work for you?
It really doesn't help at all.
What did it do? Make it worse?
Yep.
Yeah.
Like I feel like if you think about it, just like having low self-esteem or just like having like bad negative feelings for yourself, literally helps not at all.
It actually
That shit
reverses the
does
course.
not fucking help.
Oh, it doesn't. Judging yourself, you just have an internal critical parent, basically made up of whoever raised you, and you just, like, okay. What I learned is that if you have a nurturing parent, say, I completely understand where you are with your exercise program or your, relationship, and it makes total sense to me.
Yeah.
And I've been there before, and I can really feel your heart, and it sounds like you're just really sad about this or, XYZ. You'll go home and they'll say, what do you want to do about it? What do you like to do about it? And you make those little tiny, like tender with yourself agreements. It's like you feel light as air.
Yeah. You feel so good.
That's a difference. Okay. One more thing. The difference, there were these Buddhist monks down by the shore, and this one devotee came and asked them, how do you know the truth? How do you know when something is true? How do I know when I'm like seeking the truth, when I'm on the right path? And the Buddhist monk said, well, you know the ocean because it tastes of salt. You know truth because it tastes of freedom.
Damn.
So judging yourself, criticizing yourself, all that shit, does it make you feel heavier or lighter?
Definitely fucking heavier.
Right. And if you have somebody say, you're beautiful just the way you are, your heart is in the right place, I'd love to help you, to support you in anything you choose to do to help yourself.
Shit feels amazing.
You feel like bird bones, like you could fly, right? My therapist has taught me this so many times. I'm like, fucking such a piece of shit. She's like, is that working? I'm like, it's gonna work. It's gonna fucking work. I'm like, beat myself, like, no. And then she'll say a few tender things with me, and I'm like, oh. And then the next day I'm like working out, kicking ass, making dinner, loving my kid, loving my husband. It's very toxic to judge yourself.
Yeah.
But you just have to, have a few people be tender with you, and then you learn how to be tender with yourself.
God damn, this has been so good.
Cheers.
This has been amazing. God damn.
I'm old and wise. Do I look old?
No. You hear how quickly I answered that? I was proud of myself. That was like maybe half a second.
I was fishing.
Are you a fan of stand-up comedy at all?
Oh my God, I love stand-up comedy.
Do you have a favorite comedian?
Well, Lenny Bruce.
Yeah.
But currently, Eliza Schlesinger, Louis C.K., I forgive him, and Amy Schumer.
Okay, fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Louis.
Mm-hmm. He's so good. I mean, freaking watch fucking Woody Allen movies when he married his freaking stepdaughter. I can watch a fucking Louis C.K. show.
Yeah.
I love him. I hope he comes back soon.
Oh, he's back.
Is he back?
Yeah. He's touring. Or he was touring like before COVID stuff happened.
Oh, was he?
Yeah.
Even through the Me Too movement?
He's doing well. He's fine. Because people will still come out to see him.
God.
You won't it might be like on the low where like people are like, man, fuck Louis, but we got tickets. So
because a person's art, you should really separate. I mean, I don't know. I believe sometimes you can separate the artist from the personal behavior.
Yeah.
Anyway, he just needs love.
Hey,
Louis, if you're listening, darling,
get that self-esteem up, bro.
Darling, I will help you.
And if you want to jerk off in front of somebody, just get them to sign a piece of paper saying it's okay.
No, just come jerk off in front of me. I'll love it.
Hey, we got an open invitation for the jerk.
Just do it with the appropriate person.
How can we get this to Louis ASAP?
Seriously, tell him. I live in Raleigh. Just look me up. Rub ratings. Look me up. Freyja. God, I would love to spend a few hours with him. Yeah. He's a genius. He's a fucking genius. The stuff he does about his little... I mean, so many things he's done have been so just... he talks about shit nobody else talks about. And I love that. He crosses that line.
Yeah. I mean, he's fucking... dude's vulnerable. A lot of shit. The best thing I like about comedy is that you can be vulnerable and people have no fucking idea whether or not you're telling the truth or not. Mm-hmm.
But it's only funny if you're telling the truth.
I don't know about that.
I don't know.
People feel that shit when you're telling the truth, but you can definitely tell a lie. And it's funny. You know?
Okay, that's true. Now that's true, but that's tongue in cheek though. That's like, I fucked the queen last week. Like that's different than,
little lies in comedy are the best. Yeah. You can't lie too big,
right?
Because people are like, obviously that didn't happen. But if you lie little,
it's it's divulging who you are. And in a it's vulnerability. Divulging who you are to an audience makes them feel immediately close to you.
Yeah. Because it's like, oh, hey, I'm going through this thing. Everybody in the audience is like, oh, so am I. And then we talk about it, and then they're like, oh, we laughed about our problems. It's fucking great.
If I had advice for comedians, I would say, be as vulnerable as you can stand, because that's the secret to success.
Well, thank you. I will take that.
There you go. As vulnerable as you can handle.
I'm about to go to an open mic in Chapel Hill right now.
Are you?
I'm going to tell them all. I'm going to be like, hey, guys.
I met this slut.
Be vulnerable.
I met this slut. She told me to be vulnerable.
Fuck yeah. Freyja, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's been good.
This has been great. I really enjoyed having a chance to talk about myself.
Fuck yeah. Do you want to plug any social media or anything for the people that can find you online?
Just remember my name is spelled with a J. Freyja. And then Volva, Volva. And a vulva is a wandering wise woman from the Norse, from the Viking culture.
Oh, I thought it was a vagina thing.
Right? I picked it.
VU.
Because
VU is the vagina. Okay.
It sounds like vulva.
Okay.
But it's vulva. I'm a wise woman.
Oh, shit.
Wandering wise woman.
That's better.
Also a vulva. But you have to listen to my words first. No, you can just totally touch my vulva. No, if I give you permission.
Permission is key.
And you got to earn it.
Hell yeah. Well, I'll plug your Twitter and OnlyFans and stuff in the intro and outro, so we can do that.
Yeah. I don't know. Wait, I guess my Twitter handle is Freyja Volva. Yeah.
Freyja_Volva. I got it.
Oh, good.
You gotta have the underscore.
Thank you. And my websites are companionmassage.com, lovepowercoach.com. I'm building goddessfreyjavolva.com and also sacredbodyworker.com. So I'm in flux with my web. I always have like 5 websites working. I'm going to eventually get them down to like 1 or 2.
Hell yeah. Freyja, I appreciate you coming on. This has been dope.
Thank you.
Listeners, we will be back later. That was my interview with Freyja Volva. Shout out Freyja. That was such a good time. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. Listeners, she just plugged it. I will plug it again. You can find her on Twitter at Freyja_Volva. You can find her on OnlyFans at onlyfans.com/FreyjaVolva. Her websites, companionmassage.com, lovepowercoach.com, coming soon, goddessfreyjavolva.com, as well as sacredbodyworker.com. I will have a link to all her social media, her websites, in the Libsyn page from this week, so make sure you hit that Libsyn page, give her a follow, show her some love. While you were there, you can find us on Instagram and Twitter at FullServicePod. You can find me at TankFunkadelic. If you enjoy the podcast, make sure you're subscribed on whatever platform you're listening to us on. Hit us with a 5-star rating, write us a review. That would help us out so much. If you want to be on the podcast, if you want to hear anything talked about on the podcast, perhaps if you just want to write in and let us know how you're doing, send us an email at fullservicepod@gmail.com. I'll be in Panama City November 7th through the 14th. So if you're in the Panama City area, if you're a sex worker, if you're a client, and you want to be on the podcast, hit me up. We can make it happen. All it takes is a mic and a laptop. It's pretty easy. I mentioned last week we are starting a Patreon for the podcast. It will be launching mid-November. I'll have the exact date for you next Tuesday, but you'll be able to hear exclusive content that you can only hear on Patreon, interviews that you will only be able to hear on Patreon. I'm super excited. It's a great way to support the show. We'll still be here every single Tuesday with new episodes, but if you want to hear more content that is behind a paywall, fucking Patreon, subscribe. It's great. Thanks for being here. This has been episode 60. We will be coming at you next Tuesday. I'm excited. My guest is a Charlotte-based dominatrix, cam model, phone sex operator, Domina Delilah Bliss. We recorded, I guess, a couple weeks ago when I was up in Charlotte. So fun. Such a good interview. So excited for y'all to hear it. That'll be here next Tuesday. I'm going to stop talking. Hey, I hope you have a great week. Hope your Halloween was a good one. I don't know. Do we have Halloween this year? But I hope the start of November for you has been amazing. Hey, I'll see you on Tuesday. Later. Full service.